Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for showing up in the our event, the focus group discussion of LPPM ITV Volume 8, 2023. In here, we have our speaker already, Mr. Professor Rafał and Łukasik from the Łukasiewicz Center Research Network, Poland. So here, Prof. Rafał will discuss basically about the biomass in the focus of circular economy, biorefinery approach. And just a little introduction, Prof. Rafał is actually the one of the top researcher in the area of ionic liquid in terms of biomass upgrading, and then how to convert, for example, sugarcane bagasse using chemical hydrolysis and so on. So I think you can try to check some of his publication that has so many cited already. And if you work in the biorefinery, biofuel, or ionic liquids, you probably will see a few of his publication, and you're probably using it as your references. Okay, without any further ado, I'm going to give the floor to Prof. Rafał for his talk today. Prof. Rafał, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this kind introduction, and I'm sorry for those who, especially from our part of Europe, of the world, that we think that the meeting will start, the conference will start at 10 Central European Time, which actually is 11. So let me start sharing my screen so I can. I hope you can see the presentation.
Yes, we can see it clearly.
Okay. Thank you, perfectly.
But perhaps you want to change the view, Prof. The view is in the if you go to display setting on the top there.
1 second.
Display setting. Oh, you can go back again to the full screen.
1 second.
Yeah.
1 second. And now?
Yeah, now it's good. Yeah.
Now it's okay.
Yeah,
okay, perfectly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much for this kind invitation, and of course for this nice introduction. I'm actually in a very specific position right now because I was because that's what you have said about me. It was before I actually joined the Łukasiewicz Research Network. So the work that I did with ionic liquids with biomass was done in my previous place where I've been working for more than 19 years in Portugal. But after that time, I came back in July to Poland, to Łukasiewicz Research Network, and now I am the director of International Cooperation Department in Łukasiewicz Center. But still, I'm trying to be active in the field of biorefinery. So, and biomass, of course, and chemical engineering. So my talk will be a little bit specific because I will just give you a introduction to the biorefinery also, but also I will focus more on what Łukasiewicz is doing in this area to make it more interactive and to open the possibility to interact between to open interaction between Łukasiewicz and you from this from institute. So the presentation will be about first Łukasiewicz Research Network. So I will give a short introduction to this. Then I will provide some concepts, some ideas, some highlights on biorefinery and circular economy, and then I will provide you with only some examples, although they are quite numerous, but still some examples of projects from the area of biorefinery, but also circular economy, and what we are doing in Łukasiewicz on that. And then later on, we can make a discussion on general topics, but also on specific projects, because we have today with us some colleagues of mine from all those institutes who sent me the inputs to this presentation. So my presentation actually is not only mine, but also all of those who provided the input to this presentation. So what is Łukasiewicz? Our main goal, our motto is science for business. Why it is specific? Because we are not a standard research organization, but we are more focused on filling the gap between the science and the business. So that's why our motto is science for business. And to better understand what we are doing and what are our goals is to have the answer on the question who we are. So Łukasiewicz Research Network is actually rather young institution, although some institutes have more than 100 years of history. Łukasiewicz itself was created in 2019. There was a reform in Poland regarding the research organization, and right now Łukasiewicz is one of the largest research networks in Europe, at least in number of researchers hired by our institutes. We are actually the fourth or third research network behind Fraunhofer and VTT in Europe. We are modern R&D organization because we have more than 4,500 engineers and scientists, and we have more than 440 laboratories around the country. And we have more than I would say almost 4,000, because this number is still evaluating quickly. We have almost 4,000 unique R&D equipment. So as you can see, we have a large potential in terms of researchers, but also in terms of equipment that are in our institutes. Regarding the financial aspects, as I said, Łukasiewicz was created in 2019, so that's why these bars for 19 are gray. And along this last years, of course, 2023 is not closed yet, so we don't have the final data. But as you can see, Łukasiewicz income is continuously increasing, especially from 2020 to 2022. And net financial results, which is the most astonishing results, you can see that we have a significant jump from between 2020 to 2022, from 15.7 to 28.4 million euro from our net financial results just in 3 years. Now, what is actually Łukasiewicz? Łukasiewicz is a network of 22 institutes in Poland. We are mostly working in these 4 main areas, as you can see: green and low emission economy, digital transformation, smart and clean mobility, and healthy living. And on the map of Poland, you see the headquarters of these 22 institutes. You can see that they are more centralized, but we have also the branches around the Poland, also in another part of Poland too. So that's not only the places that are highlighted here. The overall budget of all projects running by Łukasiewicz is 1.75 billion euro. For those who are not familiar with euros, it's very similar. It's almost 1 to 1 to $. So you can, with a rough estimation, consider euro as dollar in terms of budget. At least it's almost $2 billion. So as I said, we have these 4 main research areas, and I have them sum up on this slide. So green and low emission economy, we are mostly working on these 6 areas: bioeconomy and low emission technologies. Green chemistry is also one of our focus. We are mostly directing our research to new and recycled materials. Energy transmission and storage, as well as smart energy efficient construction, are also elements of our projects in this area, but also alternative fuels and renewable energy sources are in the scope of this research area. We have also a very strong second area, which is digital transformation, and here we have all the aspects related to automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, human-machine interface, data science, Internet of Things, smart cities, digital agriculture and education. This is also a very important aspect. And also quantum microelectronics and photonics technology. This is very important from the chips technology point of view. Then we have another area, which is a smart and clean mobility, which is somehow related to green and low emission economy, especially in terms of fuels and energy. But in this area, we have innovative transport, electric mobility, drones, materials in transport, all the pro-ecological construction solution for transport. Transport management itself is also very important for our institutes, and also innovative technologies for the production of transport means. And as you can see, we have a very diverse scope of activities because we also tackle healthy living, because we have a lot of activities related to innovation in healthcare system, medicinal products and the intermediates, disease diagnosis, regenerative medicine, additive technologies in medicine, biomedical engineering, and also functional food and preventive healthcare. So as you can see, we are covering almost all the areas of industrial interest. So as you can see, we are quite well scattered among all the industrial sector. But in terms of project distribution, it is important to understand that our main focus, the most projects in terms of budget, but also in terms of number, is coming from green and low emission economy. So that's what is related to bioeconomy, that's what's related to biorefinery, circular economy are main scope of our activities in terms of projects, at least in terms of budget. All the other three, digital transformation, smart and clean mobility, as well as healthy living, are more or less equally scattered between 17 and 13%. But now it's important to understand where Łukasiewicz is planning to go, because as you can see, we have a quite big portfolio with a considerable amount of budget in terms of projects in our activities. So we have to understand what are the challenges, what are the goals for Łukasiewicz. So as right now, after this 3 years of stabilization, we can say that we are trying right now to develop, to design strategic goals for us. And we are doing this in two approaches. 4 years, so it's a short-term strategy, and 10 years long-term strategy. It's a completely different strategy, but nevertheless, in both strategies, we have two main goals. So we are having major focus in our strategies on strategic research programs. So is that what help us to sustain and bridge the gap between the academia and the industry, and internationalization. But coming back to research programs, so we mostly concentrate on the resources and efforts. We are trying to strengthen our competitiveness and cooperation with industry, and by this we are trying to make a difference. On the other side, we know that we are not able to do this alone. Of course, in Europe, we have a European Union and we can collaborate easily with all the other nations in EU, but also beyond the EU. But still, we see that to move our institutes to higher level, we need the saturation of our institutes with foreign researchers. What does it mean, saturation? It means that we want to hire researchers from abroad in our institute. Danang is one of the wonderful examples of this kind of saturation. So this kind of new acquisition, not new, but some acquisition some time ago to one of our institutes. So we believe that by this, but also by other means, we can increase the number of international projects, increase the collaboration, but also this will give us some new level of collaboration, because we will automatically introduce bilingual organizations. So Polish will not only be the only language, official language in our institute, but also we will be naturally working in this dual language organization where English will be equally used as Polish. Now, just to give you some flavor, how efficient we are international projects. So if you can understand that, probably you are not very familiar with this. Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe are the kind of frame programs that European Commission launched to sustain and to support all the research and development in Europe. Horizon 2020 was the previous frame program that was, all of those are running for 7 years. The Horizon 2020 finished by 2020, and the Horizon Europe started in 21 and will end up in 2027. So I can show you that in the previous program, Horizon 2020, all the institutes of Łukasiewicz, even if they were not still branded by Łukasiewicz, in 6 years, these institutes only got 71 projects. Right now, in 2 years only, so 21 and 22, only in 2 years we have more than half of those that we got in 6 years. So we believe that the goal that we put in front of us to get the synergy from the and strengthen our potential, it results because we have in 2 years that half of that we got in 6 years. So we believe that in by the end of Horizon Europe we will be far ahead than that what we had in 2020, Horizon 2020. And on the bottom you have two names of two institutes, PIT and IMN. Regardless what does it mean, we have two institutes that are leaders of project finance from Horizon Europe. So we have definitively leaders. We have some kind of moderate, those who are not so good, and those which require much more assistance in this. But I will show you today that we have a very interesting presentation project from most of our institutes. And in terms of researchers, as I said, our goal is to get new researchers from abroad, and as I can show you on this slide, Łukasiewicz port, where Danan is working, is one of the wonderful examples, because in the last year, more than 20% of R&D department in Łukasiewicz port were foreigners. So as you can see, they are coming from all around the world, including Indonesia, which I think the flag is not here for some reason. I'm sorry. And we have also other axes of this, because we are trying to bring Poles back to Poland. Yes, so I am one of those examples, because I spent so many years abroad, and I came back to Łukasiewicz, although not to Łukasiewicz port, but I came back to Poland. So we are trying also to bring Poles back to our country. But that's one of the organic work, I would say. We are trying to also be active in our network of contacts. So one of the way to do this is to participate in European Institute of Innovation and Technology, that are called EITs, and they are working in different areas. There are actually nine EITs. We are now right now a member of 6 of them. We submitted to one more, to food, but you can see we are right now member of climate, health, urban mobility, raw materials, energy, and manufacturing. So these are institutes with own financing that helps us to also to get projects for this specific topics. AITs are one of the way to collaborate, but we're also members of international organization. Actually, we are members of more than 100 organizations around the world, not only in Europe. I just have here some of them, and I selected those which are probably the most relevant from the biorefinery and circular economy point of view, but not only, but just to name them: Biomass Industry Consortium, ETIP Bioenergy, InnovaWood, Clean Energy, Clean Aviation, I'm sorry, but also we are members of EARTO, so it's a European Association of Research and Research Organization. So we are members of many international organizations that gives us a possibility to be present, to know what's happening, and to be active member of potential consortium that are created from this kind of collaboration. So after this a little bit long introduction to Łukasiewicz, but I think it was important for you to understand what we are actually, who we are and what we are doing, I will just move a little bit ahead to biorefinery and circular economy. What are the concepts, what are the goals? And of course, I want to discuss with you, and I will be more than happy to answer your question and exchange your opinion about circular economy, bioeconomy, feedstock. When I'm talking feedstock, it's not only biomass, can be algae, can be also gases, can be also some kind of different kind of feedstock, any kind of feedstock, not only biomass, biorefinery, what is this, why it is important, and green chemistry, which is obviously one of the principle, one of the concept that is beyond behind all this aspect. Okay, so starting maybe from biorefinery, it's important to understand what biorefinery is and how we can compare it to current situation. Although biorefinery is something that is already existing for a long time, one of the important aspects is still that we are still mostly rely on the petroleum refinery. And if you compare on this slide, this is one of my students who made it a long time ago doing her PhD, and I think it shows very nicely how you can compare petroleum and lignocellulosic biorefinery, because actually from the top, starting from the top, in the petroleum you have a crude oil. In the lignocellulosic biorefinery you have lignocellulosic biomass, where you have contribution of sun and CO2 to grow this biomass. And then whatever kind of feedstock it is, it's a petroleum or lignocellulosic biorefinery, it goes to refinery, oil or biorefinery, and then you get the same bench of products. Basically, you have fuels, chemicals, materials, or biofuels, biochemicals, materials. Yes. So as you can see, the concept, the idea is basically the same, but the feedstock is different, and by this, automatically the refinery process is by definition should be different because the feedstock is different. Yes. So if we want to go to more encyclopedic definition of biorefinery, especially is what International Energy Agency is saying, is biorefinery is the sustainable processing of biomass into a spectrum of marketable food and feed ingredients, bio-based products, for example, chemicals, materials, and bioenergy, and biofuels, power, and or heat, and is the main driver for large-scale implementation of biomass within the different market sectors of the global economy. So it's basically you can use the same sentence in substituting bio by simple refinery, and to be give you exactly the same definition like petro refinery. But to make it simple, and especially if you want to look on the value chain and the value addition, you can see normally the biomass is something that has lower value, or it should be even negative, because if you start with something with valuable, it means that you introduce some kind of distortion in the market, because if there is an additional demand for this kind of feedstock, automatically you are introducing distortion to the market. So the biomass that you are using, whatever biomass it is, it should be low value or even negative value. So biomass, it should produce in the process of biorefinery energy chemicals, which are normally medium to low value. We don't want to spend a lot of our money on petroleum or on a gas station. So normally we would like to have energy as cheap as possible. Chemicals also should be cheap, and then in going up we can get some value added chemicals and materials which normally get higher value. So if you take a look on this arrow that is going up, red arrow on the left, you see that the biomass is normally, that is something at the lowest value, and in the process you generate value by transforming this simple, not simple, but cheap biomass into something more expensive. This looks very simple, but actually, if you take a look on this scheme, I'm sorry for this quality, although it's not very good, but it gives you the flavor to understand how complex the process is. Because if you take a look on the top you have a different kind of feedstock that you can use, because you may have straw, wood chips, starch crops, manure, algae, whatever, and then on the bottom you have products, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, waxes, etc., etc. But in the middle, you have plenty of potential routes and processes that you actually have to employ to get from these green symbols that you have on the top to the bottom one on the product side. Yes, so the system is actually not very simple. Actually, contrary, actually, it's very complex, like actually in the oil refinery, and you have a lot of processes in the middle to get from substrate to product. So as you can see, biorefinery is also a very, very complex issue, as well as in case of oil refinery. But now going to different subtopic a little bit, because we have to understand why biorefinery appear and why biorefinery is very crucial. Because as you can imagine, even in the Stone Age, people were using biomass to, for instance, produce energy, to heat up, yes, to warm themselves. Yes, so this is not something completely new. The way how we are seeing is completely different, because we have problems with CO2 emission and climate change. And just to give you the information, just to show you that actually that we are observing right now is not something that appear only right now, but you can see on the left-hand side in 1912 in a very common journal in USA, I don't actually even know which it is, they already said that coal consumption affecting climate. And what you can read is there is that 2 million tons of coal a year produce 7 million tons of carbon dioxide, and it raises the temperature. The effect may be considerable in a few centuries. So you can say, wow, that was that's very true, yeah, because actually we observe right now in just more than 100 years from that time, we have a significant difference in our climate. What you can see on the right hand side, because when you take a look, you see the CO2 emissions readings actually in observatory in Manuelwa, and then how it is correlated with the global temperature increase since 1850. So there's a clear correlation, especially after 1950, that the temperature and the emissions are very nicely correlated, unfortunately for us. But just to understand how it affects us directly, if you take a look on the documents that I'm showing right now to you, this is a very old slide from 2016, but I think it helps to understand a lot of information. It gives you a lot of information. It helps to understand why relevant it is and how we are still and will be still dependent on oil. Because as you can see at the beginning of this century, more of the transport energy used for transport was basically oil based. And although we are somewhere on this road, we still have, even by 2050, we will have a considerable amount of oil as a source of energy. So even if we introduce biofuels or even electricity, we have to understand that with biofuels and with all the solutions, we will not be able to substitute completely our dependence on oil. So that's why it's important to understand that we have to work on this, and that's what you are doing, guys, and what we are doing in Łukasiewicz is something that is crucial to reduce our dependence on oil, but also to contribute to the fact that we will be we will be emitting less CO2. And just to add to this, especially if you are talking about biofuels, although this is a very specific figure, I want to show you that on the left-hand side, you have a GHG emission of well-to-wheel LCA approach. So you can see if we use just simply substitute fossil fuels by first-generation fuels, you can have, roughly speaking, 50% saving of GHG emission. But if you move to the second-generation fuels, we can get 90% saving of CO2 or GHG emissions. And if we move even further, especially if we move to more advanced fuels like ethanol 100% or hybrid ethanol or ethanol fuel cells, of course, it depends on time when we are, because the technologies are developing, so the energy consumption and life cycle emission are going down per kilometer. You see that we will be definitively in the range that is most favorable than, for instance, gasoline right now, or gasoline in Brazil, which is also a good comparison point. And if you take a look on the electric car, of course, we are starting with a very interesting energy consumption. But if we take a well-to-wheel, so the entire cycle of life cycle analysis, you see that the life cycle emission is very significant. Even by 2040, it will be still much higher than all the advanced, for instance, like if we could run our vehicles on ethanol 100%. But now moving a little bit to economy, because this what I showed you is definitively connected to this. We should take a look on the concept that most of the economies around the world are still applying. So most of the economy is still based on the linear concept. So whenever we want something as a product, as a client on the market, we have to take new material, new product to get new material to make new product. So we have this concept that take, make, and dispose. So still very little of what we are consuming is reuse. So this is what is happening right now in most of the cases. So still, this is a dominant part. While in the ideal world, we have sort of circular economy where whatever we are taking, we were producing something, some goods, some commodity we are using, and then instead of going to trash, it should come back to the circle and should be reused, of course. This is the ideal situation. Of course, there is a lot of obstacles regarding, for instance, the quality of new product, etc. But still, it's something that is very relevant. And just to uh, show you to help you to understand that this is also not something very new, because also already in more than 50 years ago there were already information that the circular economy actually is something better. Of course, we are not very clever enough to take examples from our nature. You know very well the water cycle. Yes, this is something that our kids are learning in the first year of school. What is a water cycle? And the nature is doing this since millenniums. Yes, so we are just trying to reproduce something that the nature is doing for a long time ago, since long time ago. I like also very much this butterfly image because it helps to understand the concepts of circular economy, because it helps to understand what are the differences between finite materials and renewables. Because as you can see, again, you can find a lot of similarities, but what is the most important is that you can apply the circular economic concept not only to renewables but also to finite materials. Because what is important is that you start what kind of materials you have, you produce something, you optimize your cycle yields, circulate products, component materials to get higher utility along the cycle, along the value cycle or value chain, and then you minimize the system leakage. So you don't allow that whatever is used in the system goes out of the system. So you don't have it, the 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 negative impact on the environment. Yes, and if you compare, these numbers are quite old, but still gives you a lot of. I like them because they show a lot of information. Because if you compare uh, these five these five factors like household disposable income, GDP, social costs, and CO2 emission and primary material consumption. So if you uh, see how the economy will look like by 2030 if you will not change anything, and if you change significantly in what was happening in 2012. So as you can see, if you just move to uh, to new material, to new scenario, circular scenario, what you will get, you will have significantly lower emissions, you will have much lower primary material consumption, you will have much lower societal costs. When I'm talking societal costs, I'm mostly talking about health cost, governance, infrastructure, etc. You will have significantly increased GDP even in comparison to the current status, and the income of each of us should be higher just because we will be working in a more industrialized, more advanced technology systems. Now I would like to move a little bit towards that what Łukasiewicz is doing in Biorefinery and circular economy. Actually, this is missing in this slide. And I will give you examples of some projects. So if you will have some questions, probably I will direct them to colleagues of mine who are here to answer these questions. But first, when we are talking about bioeconomy in Łukasiewicz, we are talking mostly about this five, but please don't consider this as a closed number of applications. So we're talking about agriculture applications. So we're talking about bio-based products, multifunctional plants, biostimulators, seed coatings. Also biodegradable composites, packaging, fiber products, packaging materials, polymers, all the materials related to the composites and biodegradability, fuels, and then we have biogas, drop-in biofuels, propane, dehydration processes, etc. Food preservatives, food products, natural food products, bioactive compounds, but also recycling. This is also important from the concept of from the perspective of circular economy concept. So we have the waste from wind, for instance, even from wind power plates, TLCF products, even shoes, etc. So all it's a little bit different than bio, but still very relevant. And as I told you, we have in Łukasiewicz 22 institutes, while those which are the most active, but not only those are active in the bioeconomy, we have this 7 institutes: Institute for Sustainable Technologies, New Chemical Synthesis Institute, the Institute of Heavy Organic Synthesis Blachownia, Institute of Engineering and of Polymer Materials and Dyes, Automotive Industry Institute, Institute of Ceramics and Building Materials, and Łódź Institute of Technology. And I'm right now going to start presentation from institute by institute in different order than it's here, but I'm going to show you the presentation of some project. This is the project financed by European agency working under Horizon 2020. Right now under Horizon Europe, but before Horizon 2020 umbrella. The project was about the use of feather bioeconomy for keratin-based agriculture products. So in this project, the idea is to valorize chicken feather to get the high added value bio-based products for agricultural applications. And I think we have people from which to, if you have some questions, to answer the questions regarding this project. What is important is that you can see on the right hand side the portfolio of the partners, and they are around from entire Europe, including also of course Polish partners. Another project from the same institutes is about the multifunctional foliar preparation for protect and stimulate plant growth. So as you can see, we also work on the seeds. So we are trying to formulate colleagues of mine from which they are trying to formulate new foliar preparation for based on collagen and keratin. The idea would be that this kind of substances, they have a fungicide activity against this kind of microorganisms, so it helps to protect the seeds from and stimulate the plant growth. One more project is about the biodegradable soybean seed coating. Again, it's still about the seeds itself. So we want to develop a biodegradable environmentally friendly seed coating, which will also be bioactive and help to produce the seeds that are certified, because this is also important from the application point of view, that we want to have the product that we are producing to be possibly sellable on the market, commercialized. So we want to have this kind of products also on the market. So we want to also work on the certification aspect as well. So this was the project that ended 3 years ago roughly, but this is very interesting from the application point of view project. One more project. This is more about it's about the innovative distribution system for healthy and regional foods. So in this project, we are mostly focusing on the nutritional analysis of some kind of nutrients, especially in the context of nutrients in food products. We are also trying to perform microbiological tests to detect food pathogens and molds. This is also very important from the food safety regulation point of view. And it's also relevant from the regional aspect of this project, is that we want to have regional food, some organic food. So the pesticide contact is also very important, especially for consumer health. So we are working on this dimension in this project too. Again, one more project from the same institute is about the new center, that is the Biomass Research and Development Center. So it's a little bit different project, because we are not talking about specific research, but it's about the center itself, and the center is the money that were received were to invest in modernize research infrastructure. On this aspect, where the main research is driven to obtain new biodegradable multifunctional composite products, and mostly to have them that are also biodegradable, especially obtained from waste products, like for instance leather, agri-wood, textile, etc., etc. One more project. This is from ERANET, ERANET, so it's Materials ERANET project. ERANET are kind of projects also in collaboration with other partners from EU. So you can see we have partners from Austria, for instance, from Graz. And the goal of this project was to obtain sustainable and safe bio-based fiber that can be used for packaging material. As you can see on the bottom, you can have a technology in place for this process. As you can see, we're always trying to have in our processes LCA as a crucial element to really to demonstrate that our processes are sustainable and not more environmentally hazardous than the current one. We are also developing new competences, especially in Łódź Institute of Technology, on the construction materials. So it's a little bit different axis dimension of our work, because we want to have new isolating materials based on mycelium growing on industrial and food waste. So as you can see, this is an organic material, and we can produce materials for prefabrication of buildings. I think that's from Łukasiewicz, from Łódź. Now, if we move to New Chemical Synthesis Institute from Puławy, they are specialized in supercritical fluid extraction in many dimensions. And in this project, Eureka initiative, again, a little bit different project type from European Commission. They were using supercritical fluid extraction, large-scale extraction, to formulate new spice mixes, and that can work as a natural preservative. And because of that, they can replace classical sodium acetate or sodium lactate from mixture from what is used right now for spices. Another project that was from the same institute is also about extraction, but with a little bit different goal. The goal is to obtain new formulation to boost human immune system, and in that case they were using turmeric, laurel leaves, sea buckthorns, acai, and rosemary. So these are also, again, extraction. So the technology is the same, but the substrate is different, and the application is different. Very, very interesting project too. Also in terms of the financial support is from Eureka, with European partners involved in the project. And right now we have some examples from project from Institute of Sustainable Technologies, from my city, from Radom, and they are mostly working in this project for recycling and dismounting footwear. So as you can see, it's a little bit different application, maybe not directly bio, but still circular economy, because we, as you can imagine, we are using a lot of shoes, so shoe soles, they have a significant impact also on environment. So we want to dismount these shoe soles and reutilize them, recycle on the lab scale, and to fabricate a new substrate materials. And one more project from the same institute on leather, and also reuse of chromium ternary waste for different applications, where they also apply thermal hydrolysis of solid waste for in this project. If we move to Automotive Industry Institute, we have one more Eureka project. It's different than the previous one. It's interesting because you can see that the goal of this project was to develop dual fuel supply system for tractors, for agricultural machinery, where this kind of machine can be powered by diesel, oil, and biogas with high CO2 content up to 50%. So this was more on the automotive part. Another interesting application very close to the market, this is on the hydrocarbons from waste polythenes. So we can apply this for different kinds of plastics to get different series of products, starting from fuels, from liquid products through solid phase like char and gases. What is important is that this is done directly with the company Handel Technologies, and this is already at the high TRL, technical readiness level, and this solution has won numerous awards and the largest technological exhibitions. And here you can see that starting from 6 kilograms of waste plastic, which you can imagine is a very big problem, especially for ASEAN countries like, I believe, to some extent, Indonesia. What to do with plastic, how to collect in a considerable amount to make the collection and separation and measurement system efficient. You can use this approach from 6 kilo of waste plastic. After the thermolysis or liquefaction, you can get 5 kilograms, more than 6 liters of liquid product, and some char, 0.1 kilogram of char, and 0.9 gases with high calorific value. What is important that the product that we are getting, liquid product that we are getting from here, can be directly used for powering some machines. In the same institute, there is a lot of work done on the microalgae, especially on the pretreatment of microalgae towards more efficient methane production in the fermentation process. So there are some kind of research on the photosynthetic aspects of microalgae production, but also we are also in this institute working on the terms, technical and legal terms of managing post-fermentation residues, which potentially can be used as a fertilizer, but of course from the technological and legal aspect must be fulfilled. And one of the project, although this project is rather old, it ended almost 9 years ago. It's important because it helped to create new competencies, especially in biocarbon. As you can imagine, 10 years ago, the vision on this was completely different than right now, but we could create the competence in this area and develop new aspects related to new directions in our research and institute. So the project was on the environmental economic benefits from biochar cluster in the Central Europe. So we aggregate in this project not only our institute but also other institutes from this part of Europe, and this drove us to develop a lot of research areas, especially in biochar used for fertilizer purposes, and also even in some cases when the biochar is produced from biomass like herbaceous, we can use the biochar for cosmetics. So as you can see, you are starting from something that has low value, and you can have a product like cosmetics products or kind of application for high value application, or even some simple one like a cement clinker production, depends on the feedstock that we need. In the same sense, we have a lot of competences in the bio-based carbon, especially in terms of plastics, in terms of development of new composites for biodegradable plastics, and where we can control potential compostability and the ecotoxicity of plastic and packaging material and waste that we can produce, and of course even we can divert this to control and rate the emissions of fuels. And we have still some projects. In that case, we are talking about the project from Institute of Engineering and Polymer Materials and Dyes. The project is financed by the National Center for Research and Development, and the goal of this project would be to develop of innovative bioproducts accelerating the composition of biodegradable plastics in compost. So again, we know very well that plastics are challenging. So biodegradability and compostability is an issue which can help to sort out at least some problems. So this is also important from the perspective that we are banned right now to use disposal dishes, etc. So biodegradability of kind of materials like this can be a solution. Another, we have right now on slide the example project from Industrial Chemistry Institute, where the idea was to use again bioplastic produced by bacteria from industrial waste, and we are using here a genetically engineered E. coli to produce a series of PHS, PHBs, and we can have by this fully biodegradable plastic. This, as you can see, this project got 3 patents. The products from this got 3 patents applications. One more project from the same institute. It's about the production of hydrogen and methane from biowaste that can be used in a semi-industrial scale installation. This is the biowaste were converted by 2-stage anaerobic digestion to produce hydrogen and methane that can be used for the to help to sustain self-sufficiency in a sugar factory. And one more example of the project from the same group, from the same institutes, where we are working on the hydrorefining process of mixture of petroleum fraction with vegetable oils, especially those which are non-edible oils, where you can use this kind of process together in the already existing refinery installation. What is important here that we have in this project involve our petrochemistry company, Orlen, which is a sort of Petrobras for Indonesia. So it's an important project also from this perspective, because we work directly with our clients on that is present in the market. And one more project, also very relevant from the closing the anthropogenic carbon cycle, because we are using CO2 and hydrogen to produce methanol, which later on can be spent and potentially used as an energy carrier, for instance, where combustion of methanol, of this kind of methanol, helps us to save more than 95% GHG emission in comparison to classical processes where the methanol is produced. When we move to Blachowie, to other institutes, we have a lot of work based on the biomass, especially on lignin, where the lignin can be used for different purposes, but biocomponents for epoxy and phenolic resins, biosolvents, biocomponents for many plastics, but also we have activities related to lignin, ionic liquid, and other lignin functional biomaterials. And in this perspective, colleagues from these institutes are working on the chemical modification to get bioplasticizer and biocompatible for biocompatibilizers for PHBs and PHBVs. They can even blend it with natural polymers like cellulose nanofibers, or they can work as a bioplasticizer for starch. So as you can see, there's a lot of interaction between materials obtained from biomass, and then they can work as additives, bioplasticizers for other natural biopolymers, as I said, starch or chitosan or cellulose, or even can work as lubricating agents in many applications. So they are actually very active in those areas that are shown here in biofuels, especially also in renewable fuel additives via loop. This is a very important because it's selective and a process with that works in a mild process conditions. As you probably can know, that urea requires generally much severe conditions to be done. They are also working on the biodegradable coatings for fertilizers, ecological surfactants. because you can see the spectrum of activities of this institute is very broad. And probably the last slide with project. This one is also a European project where colleagues from Blachownia are working together with other partners from 9 European countries. And the project is based on the designing novel bio-based epoxy resins. So you can see on the right-hand side on this very small image that you can have a value. They call it chain, but I would call it circle, where they can produce this kind of resins for application in different materials. And probably that's it. I know that there was a lot of information, and probably you may have a lot of questions, or even if not right now, you can share the presentation with you, and later on we can organize some additional talks and discussion regarding some particular collaboration between us. Thank you very much. I will stop sharing the screen, and if you have some questions, I will be more than happy to answer, or colleagues of mine who are present here will be able to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Rafał. I think there's a lot of technology that you kind of provide in your presentation, and I believe there will be many questions. I've seen in our Slido platform we have a few questions already. However, before we move into a Q&A session, I'd like to invite Mr. Rino as a representative from our Research Management Center at ITB.
Hello.
Pak Rino. Yes,
Hello.
go on. Sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Prof. Rafał, good afternoon. Thank you for presenting to our community. So it's very interesting topic for sure about biomass technology to some many extent. So, Prof. Rafał, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Rino. I'm sorry that I'm on my business trip to Spain to meet our collaborators. Of course, I will also visit maybe next time to Poland. Thank you for the visit from the Poland people to ITB actually several months ago. Dr. Danang actually, I would like to thank him to introduce the Polish community to us. And we have Aqsha here actually, Aqsha and Dr. Professor Peña, Professor. She is just actually newly appointed as professor at ITB. Professor Peña and Aqsha actually is involving in the biomass research at ITB. So for sure we could develop such a collaboration between ITB and Poland, Łukasiewicz. And we also here, we have our chairman of Research Management Center, Dr. Yuli. So perhaps Dr. Yuli would like to greet all of you in this forum. Dr. Yuli, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Rino. Of course, very thank you for Professor Rafał. We are very glad having you in this good occasion about the circular economy on a biorefinery. Pak Aqsha, thank you, and then also Pak Rino to conduct this very good seminar. I follow Professor Rafał presentation, maybe from the middle because of I have a class just now. So on behalf of the Institute for Research and Community Service, we are thank you for Professor Rafał and Dr. Aqsha for this kind of for this seminar to present the circular economy concept in a biorefinery. Thank you, Pak Rino, for the introduction.
Thank
you,
you,
Dr. Yuli. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Dr. Aqsha.
Thank
So
you,
yeah,
Dr. Yuli.
of course, the next step would be to collaborate Indonesia and Poland. We also have here in our participants also from our national research agency, BRIN. So the BRIN researchers are also following this lecture. So hope that in the future, Indonesia and Poland, particularly Łukasiewicz, can have a good collaboration, mutual collaboration. Thank you very much, Prof. Rafał once again, and Dr. Danang in particular. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I just want to add, actually, we already met some people from BRIN, actually. We went to the BRIN headquarters in Jakarta, and we met also with Pak Handoko. Actually, we can use some kind of three-party funding, actually. Actually, Pak Handoko also told me there is some kind of internal funding from BRIN that can be used for this kind of collaboration. That's what I can say. Thank you.
That's great, Dr. Danang.
I think Pak Rino will follow up that information because in ITB, mainly in the LPPM, the Institute for Research and Quality Service, we are extend or increase the international collaboration. And I know the Łukasiewicz institution is quite well known in Poland and in the world. So I suggest our college here. I see Professor Tirto, Professor Penia, and our college from ITB. This event can be also used as a matchmaking event because not so easy to have a matchmaking event. And then I hope in the near future, our colleagues in ITB, Pak Rino, such as some professor and some researcher here from ITB, can propose international research scheme. We in ITB will open again such kind of international research collaboration. And of course, you may make a stronger relationship with the Poland, with the Professor Rafał and college. We should have mutual international research collaboration between ITB and Łukasiewicz Institute in Poland. Yeah, welcome. Thank you, Pak Danang, for the information. And also, this scheme can include college from the BRIN. We have many collaboration with the college from the BRIN. So I think not difficult to get some friend from the BRIN to include in this cooperation. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yuli. Thank you. So I saw also a lot of participants from Poland. So I'd like to greeting them. Thank you for attending our event. Yeah. So Dr. Aqsha, I'll give back to you for the question and answer session.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof. Rafał, once again. Bye-bye.
Okay, let's move to the Q&A session because I've seen there are a few questions already in our Slido platform. Let me share the screen to Prof. Rafał, and then we can choose the few questions that we can start answer by Prof. Rafał. Okay, Prof. Rafał, perhaps you want to take the first question. What policy?
What policy and regulatory considerations are important for promoting the adoption of biorefinery projects and circular economy principles in SIA? What is SIA?
SIA, I think it's a Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Well, we are not very. I'm not very aware about what is actually happening in Indonesia, but as far as I understand and what we discussed already with some other colleagues, I think, well, there are two aspects. One is a policy and regulatory consideration. One is what is happening at the industrial level, because of course you can have two ways approach. You can imply some kind of rules, and by this you can change the industry, or you can make a bottom-up approach where the industry is changing, and then change the changes in policy and regulations are happening. And I believe two things has to be done in these two things have to be done in parallel. But I believe what is happening in Europe is that, for instance, as in case of biofuels, we have already this kind of regulations regarding the implementation of introduction of some renewable or advanced biofuels. But right now we are moving towards, for instance, application of carbon. It's called tax, but it's more than just tax. So it will force by law introduction of more alternative carbon sources for products. Yes. So if you buy some product right now not yet, but in many cases, once you buy some product, you will know that this product, because it's fossil, you pay this carbon tax because it's fossil. If you will have a certain percentage of renewable carbon in the product, the tax will be lower because you don't have so much fossil carbon. So this kind of regulations is one of the potential introduction of incentives. I don't put obligation. I would put like incentives to change the paradigm, because you have to understand that it's not only industry and legal part involved, but customers. Yes, because if you will not convince customers to change the way how they use resources, even at home, energy, water, whatever, it will be hard to achieve this kind of mutual understanding to move towards more sustainable bio or circular economy principles. So I would answer like this, and then what are the key challenges, opportunities in integrating biomass into circular economy, especially in the context of Indonesia? I think again, I'm not much expert in Indonesia, but I think looking in the global aspect, I think what I showed you one of the slides is that the complexity. So every feedstock, every biomass is different, although they may have the main components the same, but still the composition, even the lignin content and the quality of lignin is different, that affects the process itself. So it's important to understand that it's hard to find the technological solution that is unique and that's universal for all the applications. So that is, but also it's a beauty, yeah, because you may have a lot of research on very similar topic, and as you could show, I could see in that what I showed you, we have institutes working on a very similar areas, but still there is a lot of activities on this because still they are very different. Yes, so I believe a major effort is the feedstock supply, feedstock stability in terms of quality and content available, and if you can ensure that along the year you will have the stable feedstock supply, because as you can see, seasonality is an issue in some cases. So this kind of aspect, and then if we move towards technology, if we can have a pretreatment process, this is also important, because normally pretreatment is a very challenging in terms of energy demanding and chemical demanding aspects. Of course, sometimes we are using steam explosion, but still energy is an issue. And then, of course, depending what you're producing. And one more point that I think is important to underline here, that still we have, in my perspective, unfair competition with the fossil products. So what I said before, the carbon tax potentially can push a little bit more towards making our products from biomass more competitive on the market. Yes, because the process that we are using right now to produce anything from the fossil source, it's more than 100 years.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a long time on the market. So there was enough time. So the products are mature, technology is mature. That's what we are producing from biomass feedstock. It's still insufficiently mature to make it competitive even from this perspective. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's from in many perspectives. So I don't think it's a particular case for Indonesia, because it's a global challenge for all of us, also including Łukasiewicz. Yeah.
I see.
Biomass feedstock can vary widely in terms of composition and quality. How do you adopt the? Yeah, that's what I actually answer. Yes, so it's important to be sure that the feedstock that you are getting is stable enough in terms of composition, the quality, because seasonality is an issue. Sometimes the solution might be a mixture, so you don't rely on one type of feedstock but on the mixture, but still seasonality can be to a certain extent mitigated by this, but still it's an issue. So one of the key aspects from perspective of large-scale biorefinery is a supply of stable feedstock. That's why in many cases, especially when this issue with biomass supply is really challenging, the idea is to concentrate on small-scale biorefineries. Okay, we are talking about 20,000-30,000 tons per year. So when you can get relatively, even in small countries, like for instance, I remember from Portugal, in the place where I've been working for a long time, we had a project on the small-scale biorefineries where you can ensure that even in the considerable radius of from the factory, you can get enough supply, enough feedstock to supply your factory around the year. Then it's that's the potential solution, yes, to mitigate the problem with the composition, the quality, and availability.
Let's see.
Could you share some examples from the practical application technology that have emerged from your research efforts? Yeah, well, in some cases it's more complicated because we have still kind of confidentiality issues, but I can show you that we, from my experience, I have a lot of collaboration with Brazil, and of course that's what you know very well. Brazil is one of the leaders also in the bioethanol production. So colleagues of mine working with Brazilian petroleum company, they have a lot of involvement in the, for instance, enzymatic aspects related to the biomass conversion to sugars. I have also experience working with the PLA. So again, once you use PLA instead of some kind of fossil plastics, you introduce new, more biodegradable products on the market. So I have some examples working with some companies from Poland on this, where we started from agriculture feedstocks with pretreatment and enzymatic hydrolysis, and then fermentation processes to produce lactic acid that after polymerization can get PLA for instance, for packaging materials. So there is a lot of examples on that. I have some experience working with company from Portugal on the valorization of olive oil seeds. So that's what you get after the extraction of olive oil. You get still sort, they call it stones. So the seeds that are inside, yes, it's very hard to be disrupted. So we had the process where we were producing oligosaccharides from this lignocellulose fraction. So there are examples. Still, the issue is to find a niche for your products on the market and to try to maximize your economic benefits from this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now about the extraction, I believe I have some experience on extraction, but I believe we have people. Let me check if I find someone from Puławy. If someone is here, please raise the hand. I'm not sure, but because they are specialists, especially in large-scale extraction, supercritical extraction. But what I can say, I don't see anybody. But what I can say is that, well, I don't believe. I know it's not a question of believing. I don't think that supercritical extraction is expensive. Actually, what I can say is that by its specificity, you are getting high value added products. So the technology itself is not the technology is as expensive as the product you get. Okay, yeah. So yeah. If you can get high value added products with high cost on the market, the technology that you produce can be sustained by the cost of the product that you deliver to the market, and as long as you have your clients. Okay. So extraction, of course, is more expensive than, for instance, water extraction, but supercritical, especially with CO2 extraction, is not as expensive as many others, because a simple issue is that when you use, for instance, organic extraction, you still have to remove solvent, yes? So you need distillation at least to remove so you have one more process, one more step to accomplish the product, yes? While in case of CO2, you just release the pressure So automatically solubility of your of the product that you are extracting from the matrix is so low, so it will precipitate or will condensate, and you can recover CO2 easily. That you can recycle it, of course, clean it, and etc. So there is a lot of issues that should be considered when you are talking about the supercritical extraction. So I don't believe its extraction is expensive. It's a lot of aspects that should be considered in this. Are there any specific biomass feedstock or waste materials that you research focus on? Yeah, my majority of my research was focused on lignocellulosic biomass, but in recent years I've been also working with algae, but also some feedstock like CO2 biomass. So especially if you're talking about anthropogenic CO2, it can be also, we also consider it's a biomass, but mostly on lignocellulosic. So if you take a look on my papers, most of them are on the lignocellulosic biomass because that was the focus of majority of my research. Question regarding the consideration that are made for biomass sourcing and logistics. Yeah, that's what I said. If you want to have a technology that is working in the considerable scale, you have to ensure that you have enough feedstock in the considerable radius from the place where you put your facility, industrial facility. And you have to ensure, you have to make a contracts with the suppliers that they can ensure that they will deliver to you, but still you have to have some kind of additional supply in case of some kind of problems, because but this is the beauty of bioprocesses, because like in case of petrol products, you can transport them from one place to the other, and then you are depending strongly on the long supply chains. If you are talking about bioprocesses or biomass processes based, you have to rely on the local supply. So then the issues related, like for instance, for in COVID, yes, when everything was stopped because of the supply chains were completely disrupted. So biomass based processes are a little bit the answer on this too, yes. I can give you one example on this, because there's one project running right now in Europe that the Italian company, they have a factory in Poland. They are producing isolation materials, and for the plasticizers, they are using some kind of polymers, and they were importing this from Southeast Asia or even from China. And in this project, the idea is to use local feedstock, lignocellulosic biomass, to produce lipids by pretreatment, enzymatic hydrolysis, and then fermentation, to produce lipids that can be used as a plasticizers instead of different plasticizers coming from Asia. So you see, in that case, they can be completely independent from the suppliers from the other part of the world, because they can have a local supplier of the feedstock, and by the investment in the technology on site, they can produce the isolation materials more inside, yes, because they don't need to import something from the other part of the world. Many techs that you mentioned will definitely increase the cost of the similar products. Yeah, how to address this issue? Yeah, that's one of the important aspects. We are competing on the market with something that is definitively more advanced in terms of, or more mature, at least in terms of technology on the market. Yes, so the competition is unfair. So what is happening in Europe is that trying to change the mindset of citizens, and also try to push forward the technology development in many directions, in the way that we can introduce carbon tax, in the way that, for instance, when clients will come to the market and see two products, where even if they are a very similar price, but they will see the situation that one is so expensive because there is a carbon tax because it's from fossil, and then there is maybe a little bit more expensive, but from at least partially renewable feedstock, consumers will definitively move towards this bio-based or more advanced technologies. So this is one of the directions where a lot of things is happening in Europe. The other is that European Commission is supporting a lot of new technologies by putting a lot of investment and doing something that is called de-risking. So if you want to make something new, normally it's associated with a big investment, and the investment, it means risk. So if you go to the investor, they will ask simple questions: how much does it cost when I will get the factory run, and how much I will get from that? Yes. And normally researchers don't have these answers on these simple questions. But even if you are at much higher level of invest or advance in terms of technology readiness level, still there is a lot of risk in that. So there is a lot of instruments in European Commission on the European Commission side, European Union, that European Commission is putting a lot of money in this risky but still it's already advanced technologies, so the investors will enter easier to this kind of process, because as long as they see that the European Commission is putting some money and is able to invest, actually to risk this money, so the risk on this investment side or from the private investment side is lower. Yes, so they call it the risking mechanism. And this is something that is happening. So as long as the public money from European Commission, because European Commission is managing the public money, is put on this innovative, changing paradigm solutions, but still risky, there is much easier of private investors to enter to this too. Yeah?
Okay. Thank you so much, Prof. Rafał, for all the answer. And unfortunately, I think we kind of pass our time in here by about 20 minutes. So, but I think we have a lot of insight, and also I think we can see many example or project that I think it can be implemented in Indonesia, and I think it's very remarkable. So I guess,
thank you very much.
Yes. Go on, Prof. Rafał.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I would like to thank again to all my colleagues from institutes who are here. Some of them were not able to be present. Yes. And the idea was exactly to show you the portfolio of our projects, because if I'm happy to share this presentation to you. So if you will be interested in this presentation, please share it also, because we can you can enter in contact with me or directly with our institutes. If you are interested in some details, you can explore the details, because I will be more than happy to collaborate with Indonesia directly with you via BRIN, any kind of mechanism, because Łukasiewicz is putting a lot of efforts on internationalization, and of course collaboration with foreign partners like you is a key aspect for us. Yes. So colleagues of mine are putting emails on chat. So please feel free also to copy these emails and share as to many people as you can, because for us it's crucial to expand our network of connection and possibility to collaborate with you.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. Rafał. On behalf,
thank you very much.
On behalf of our Research Management Center, ITB, I would like to express our heartfelt thanks to each one of you for your active participation. Perhaps Mr. Danang,
I want to ask you something. Maybe from ITB, they will have some kind of presentation or related with the same topic, or what kind of project that you have currently, something like that. For the
I think perhaps we can arrange a time that we can show what kind of project that we've done in ITB, and what kind of project that we also interested to do in the near future, because I think there are, I can see from the highlights that provided by Prof. Rafał, there are many. I think most of them, I think it's something that we can start doing it in Indonesia, and it is very it's going to be very helpful in terms of to
Yeah.
move into biorefinery and also biocircular economy in Indonesia.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I will send to you the PDF because presentation itself is too heavy. I will send you the PDF. Please feel free to share it, and I will be waiting for the input from you where you can organize some kind of presentation of your aspects, so I can also share among our colleagues, and we can make a matchmaking session to discuss what we can do together and how to
Yes.
find some kind of financial support to move this connection forward.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
before
you very much.
before we close this session, please join me in a round of applause to thank our esteemed speaker
Thank you very
today,
much.
Prof. Rafał from Łukasiewicz
very much.
Network. And thank you all for the participant from Indonesia and also from outside Indonesia. I hope we leave here today with valuable insight, and hopefully we always try to renew our commitment to a sustainable future. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.